Creaking silence. The peaceful quiet was suddenly broken by the creaking of old floorboards. The calm lullaby from the baby monitor was replaced with a jarring noise that made my heart race. Sharon was supposed to be gone, leaving the nursery silent, but the creaking noise grew louder. I grabbed the baseball bat from behind our bedroom door and slowly headed toward the nursery. Each step I took caused another floorboard to squeak. The strange noises stopped abruptly, leaving an eerie silence. When I entered the room ready to fight, everything looked normal. The rocking horse was still, its painted eyes staring straight ahead. "Dada," Sharon's voice came through static on the monitor. "Sharon, where are you?" A deep voice replied, "Come find her." Fear took over as I called my mother-in-law. "Is Sharon there?" Her answer brought relief but also confusion. If Sharon was safe, who or what was in our house? A giggle came from inside the closet. I shuddered in response, an icy chill flittering along my spine. When I opened the closet door, it was empty. A childlike whisper said peekaboo directly into my ear, causing me to swing at nothing with my bat. Laughter echoed through the house as they chanted my name in a creepy invitation to play their game. Panic set in and I ran out of the nursery. Their ghostly banter followed me. I attempted to dial 911 but got nothing but static on the line. Ghostly children watched me from the staircase. Some smiled wickedly while others cried black tears that evaporated when they touched the floor. "Play with us," they said together. "Stay forever." A cold hand touched my shoulder, and when I turned around, a pale boy with hollow eyes said, "Tag, you're it." I ran into our bedroom, and my mirror reflection was gray and gaunt, the eyes glowing with an unnatural light. What the hell was wrong with me? "You're becoming one of us," my reflection replied. The door opened slowly. I backed away until I was trapped in a corner. "Hide and seek, Dada, come find us." It felt like a dream. It couldn't be real. There was no logical explanation for any of it. I squeezed my eyes shut, desperately hoping that when I opened them again, this surreal experience would disappear, and I'd find myself waking up from a deep sleep. A small hand touched my cheek. "Silly Dada," Sharon's voice echoed all around me. "You can't wake up if you haven't been sleeping." When my eyes opened, I saw a strange creature wearing my daughter's face like a mask. "Who are you?" "We are the Forgotten Ones," it answered. "Lost spirits just like you." "Lost spirits?" I repeated, looking at my hands. They glowed and were semi-transparent. "Are you saying I'm dead?" The entity, with Sharon's innocent face, smiled wickedly. "Yes, Dada. You've been one of us for a while now." Hearing this from something that looked like Sharon was hard to accept. "I don't remember." "Death can mess with your memory," it said, studying me closely. "Don't worry, we'll help you remember." Ghostly shapes pulled me into a dizzying tour of the house, through rooms that felt both foreign and familiar. Each room told a story, some filled with joy and laughter, others heavy with sadness and sorrow. These were echoes of lives lived within these walls. "Many of us used to live in this house," the Sharon creature explained, as we walked down a narrow hallway lined with old photos covered in dust particles. "We're not bound by physical limits anymore, but we're still tied to this place." The hallway ended at a room full of worn-out furniture. There was an armchair next to a cold, dark fireplace. "This was your favorite spot," it said, pointing at the armchair. "You used to sit here for hours reading bedtime stories till Sharon fell asleep." I stared at the chair and slowly started remembering. The smell of burning wood filled my nostrils, and I could almost hear Sharon's laughter echoing in my ears. A mix of longing and sadness washed over me. "When we die, we don't remember everything right away," the creature further explained. "But eventually we remember our lives, our loved ones, and how we died." "How did I die?" I asked quietly. The Sharon creature tilted its head again, its face twisted into a strange expression of sympathy. "You don't remember anything? Not even the pain or fear?" I shook my head, feeling a cold wave of fear. "It was a car crash," she said softly, her voice echoing as if it were sounding from far away. "You were coming back from work. It happened suddenly." Images flashed in front of me. Myself driving through heavy rain, the blinding lights of an oncoming car speeding toward me, the intense pain. I closed my eyes tightly, attempting to block out the terrible memories. I don't want to remember," I stuttered. The entity stared at me for a moment before saying, "That's okay. You have all eternity to remember, or forget." In an instant we were back in the nursery, lit by a soft light that made the room glow, an unexpected comfort in this strange reality. The rocking chair moved on its own while moonlight shone through the window, creating shadow patterns on an old rug underneath. My eyes landed on an empty crib where Sharon's teddy bear lay forgotten, another sad reminder of what used to be. I could almost hear her bubbly laughter filling up the room, her small hands reaching out for me. "Remember us like this, Dada?" a voice echoed around me. "Remember us happy." As the echo faded away, I found myself alone in the nursery again, surrounded by ghostly memories and echoes of a life that was once mine. Haunted attic. Exhaustion tugged at my eyelids, but the empty crib jolted me awake. I had just checked on Ray. My heart pounded as I searched the house, shouting his name. His laughter echoed from the attic, a forbidden area. But tonight, babysitting rules were secondary to Ray's safety. I grabbed a flashlight, shaking as I approached the staircase to the upper level. The stairs creaked under my weight, each step a warning. "Ray?" My voice shook in the darkness. "It's Chloe. Where are you?" His laugh sounded again, twisted and unfamiliar. It didn't sound like him at all. The attic door loomed ahead, its peeling paint hiding unknown dangers. Taking a deep breath, I pushed it open. The screech of the rusty hinges was piercing. Darkness swallowed everything in sight. My flashlight barely illuminated the ghostly shapes and dusty relics. Something moved. A small figure darted between a stack of boxes. "Ray," I begged. "This isn't funny anymore." "But Chloe," a voice croaked from somewhere close. "We're having so much fun up here." I spun around, my heart hammering in fear. A doll sat against an old trunk, its porcelain face cracked and yellowed with age. Its head turned slowly to face me, its eyes glowing with an unnatural light. "Did you think you could protect him?" it asked as Ray's laughter bubbled from its painted lips. I gasped and stumbled backward into boxes that fell over, spilling photographs across the floorboards, photos of different children happily playing. Missing children. Horror washed over me. I wasn't alone in coming up these stairs for a missing child. The doll laughed louder and stood up awkwardly on unsteady feet. "Your fear is delicious," it hissed, "almost as sweet as these children." In terror, I ran for the door, but it slammed shut before I could reach it. "Please," I cried into the darkness. "Where is Ray? What have you done with him?" "Ray is here," replied the doll in a chilling whisper. "They're all here, and soon you'll join them." Icy fingers touched my cheek. I screamed and swung wildly. My hand hit something solid, followed by a sickening crack. With a steadying breath, I raised my flashlight again. The thin beam cut through the darkness, illuminating Ray's motionless body on the dirty floor. Dust particles floated in the light before landing back on his unmoving form. The doll, once menacing, now seemed harmless and childlike where it lay not far from him. Outside, distant sirens approached, their urgent wails bouncing off the room's walls. A bitter realization hit me. I was the real monster here, not some creature lurking in this dim attic. This shocking truth weighed heavily on me, making the air feel damp and thick against my skin. Cold dread replaced my earlier adrenaline rush, sinking into my bones. This wasn't an external threat. It was a horror within me that had been hidden beneath my awareness all this time. Scratching whispers. While the kids slept, I tried to distract myself with a book. The room was too quiet, and something about it made me uneasy. A soft scratching noise echoed from the air vent. I brushed it off until a whisper broke through the silence. "They're not sleeping. They're waiting." Fear gripped me as I realized we weren't alone in this house. I jumped up, dropping my book on the floor with a loud thud. The scratching turned into frantic scrabbling that made my skin crawl. "Who's there?" My voice shook. There was silence, then laughter. The noise echoed with the unmistakable mirth of children's laughter, yet there was an eerie undertone, a dissonance that sent shivers prickling across my skin. My heart pounded as I ran to the children's room. It was pitch black and too silent for comfort. I flicked on the light switch. Gracie and Thomas were gone. "Gracie, Thomas?" My voice wavered despite my best efforts to keep calm. A soft thud came from inside their closet, followed by its door slowly creaking open, revealing Thomas's frightened eyes. "Hide," he whispered so softly it was barely audible over my pounding heart. "They're hungry." Before I could react, he disappeared into the darkness and the closet door slammed shut with a bang that echoed throughout the house. Footsteps sounded from above, followed by a dragging sound across the attic floor. I grabbed a baseball bat stashed behind their door, my hands sweaty with fear. The hallway light flickered, casting eerie shadows on the wall that twisted and turned like ghosts dancing around a bonfire. A figure appeared at the top of the stairs. Gracie's golden locks were disheveled, and her movements seemed uncoordinated, as if she had lost control of her body. Her head drooped at an unusual angle, exaggerating her already unnatural appearance. "Mama," she croaked. Her lips didn't move, but her voice filled the air with impending doom. "We're so hungry." Gracie moved forward, revealing Thomas's limp body being dragged behind her by tentacles sprouting from her back. The monster wearing Gracie's skin grinned, showing rows of sharp teeth that shone menacingly in the dim light. "Run," Thomas's voice echoed from within the grotesque mass. "Save yourself." I hesitated long enough for it to attack. I swung the bat, hitting it with a sickening crunch. As I ran for the stairs, the front door closed, my only chance of escape. When my fingers touched the cold metal doorknob, pain shot through my back. A scream tore out of my throat as tentacles wrapped around me, pulling me backward. "Silly babysitter," Gracie's distorted voice whispered, her laughter echoing ominously in my ears. "Didn't you know? In this house, no one ever leaves." The old mirror in the room threw back a distorted reflection. My eyes, once clear, now shone with an eerie light, like two beacons cutting through the encroaching darkness. An odd smile contorted my face into a strange grimace. Sharp teeth bit into my shoulder, sending intense pain shooting through my body. My vision faltered and the edges of my sight darkened. I caught a final glimpse of my changed reflection. The scent of old wood and moist earth filled the air, underscored by the metallic smell of blood seeping from where something unseen had punctured my skin. Fear tasted bitter and sharp. The sound of creaking wood echoed around me. It was hungry, and I was its latest victim, another soul consumed by its insatiable appetite. Simon West's When a Stranger Calls is a notable horror film that uses a modernized urban legend to challenge viewers' sense of security. The narrative follows Jill Johnson, portrayed by Camilla Bell, a babysitter terrorized by an anonymous caller in a remote, luxurious house. The plot's effectiveness lies in its simplicity, leveraging the common theme of an endangered babysitter to induce a profoundly disturbing ambiance. As the evening advances, Jill discerns that the danger may be nearer than her initial assumption. She finds herself increasingly secluded, and the menace from the stranger intensifies. The intruder in When a Stranger Calls embodies our apprehensions about concealed threats lurking within our supposed sanctuaries. His frigid demeanor and absence of empathy render him more intimidating as he persistently torments Jill via phone calls. Through its adept manipulation of psychological triggers, When a Stranger Calls instills a deep-seated dread. The film's potency is derived from the strategic employment of elements that evoke terror. The first element is isolation. Jill is alone in a large, unfamiliar mansion, amplifying her vulnerability. The house's size and remote location create an atmosphere where help feels far away and loneliness is heightened. Next is the unknown. For much of the film, we don't know who the threatening caller is, playing on our fear of what we can't see or understand. This uncertainty keeps viewers on edge as they try to figure out the caller's motives and location. Stalking adds another layer of fear. The idea that someone can be watched without their knowledge is universally terrifying. The unseen caller's ability to watch Jill undetected increases tension and makes viewers feel like they're being watched too. Powerlessness also heightens the terror. Jill's inability to control her environment or protect herself highlights a feeling of helplessness. We see her losing control over her surroundings, which increases our empathy for her and intensifies our fear for her safety. Lastly, technological intrusion instills fear within the viewer. Phones, usually symbols of connection and security, become instruments inciting terror. The constant ringing serves as a warning sign of impending danger, turning an everyday object into a source of anxiety. Director Simon West uses several cinematic techniques to enhance the horror element. Sound design plays an important role in building suspense with a foreboding score, punctuated by the harsh ring of the telephone keeping viewers alert. Dimly lit rooms and sudden darkness add visual tension and make normal spaces seem sinister. The pacing is slow, allowing suspense to build gradually over time, keeping audiences engaged as their fear grows increasingly intense. Close-ups and POV shots are other effective tools used by West. Close-up shots of Jill's growing fear and desperation create a strong connection between her character and viewers. Point-of-view shots from the stalker's perspective add an extra layer of unease, immersing the audience in the uncomfortable experience of being watched. In the realm of psychological horror cinema, When a Stranger Calls distinguishes itself through its masterful storytelling and cinematic techniques. Rather than relying on cliché jump scares or graphic visuals, the film cleverly stirs terror by tapping into fundamental human fears of isolation, uncertainty, and powerlessness. This unique approach imbues it with a profound psychological depth rarely seen in contemporary horror films. The film's effectiveness is not solely derived from its capacity to frighten, but also from the unsettling questions it prompts about safety and trust within the confines of our own homes. By leveraging sound engineering and an atmosphere shrouded in dread and surveillance, it gives rise to a chilling viewing experience that lingers long after the credits roll. Over time, When a Stranger Calls has left an indelible mark on modern horror cinema by illustrating how suspense can be deftly employed for maximum impact. The film's enduring influence continues to resonate with new generations of horror enthusiasts, cementing its status as a timeless classic in the genre. When a Stranger Calls is a horror thriller that is 1 hour and 27 minutes long. It is rated PG-13. The Southern Underworld gives it 5 bloody knives.